Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Force here with some more Friday Night Magic. Oh my gosh, how does this always happen? Stop. Look, I understand you guys. I am super flattered that people who actually play Magic the Gathering also watch my videos. I just always assumed it was a bunch of noobs. I'm super flattered. I get to play first. Let's go ahead and keep this hand. It's actually pretty decent. It is pretty decent. So first things first, turn number 1, we're gonna place down the Essence Warden. I'm playing the Sylvan deck. It's an elf deck. It's a deck filled with elves, and that's exactly how I built it. I've got a ton of elves. They synergize with each other. They work pretty well. Starting off here with our Essence Warding, whenever another creature enters the battlefield, any creature on my side or my opponent's side, I get to gain 1 life. It's basically a Soul Warden for green. That's essentially what it is. Now my opponent here is playing red as one of their 2 colors, and now it's our second turn, so we get to drop down some stuff. We're gonna do 2 creatures. We're gonna go this turn with a Taunting Elf as well as a Glade Cover Scout. Glade Cover Scout is a 1/1 elf with hexproof, meaning it cannot be targeted, and the Taunting Elf is an 0/1. This is for a big swing in turn where you're trying to do a lot of damage really quickly. Now, if you're wondering why did I play those 2 elves right there, other than the fact that I could, if I can get another mana next turn and throw down a Droga War Caller, then we're gonna pump up our other elves, which will be very, very nice. We're also gonna have potentially with another mana an Imperious Perfect, and with 2 more mana a Sylvan Messenger. We'll have to see though, we might not draw into any lands. And we're playing against the blue-red deck. This is actually probably one of my worst matchups. The elf deck is filled with a ton of tiny creatures, and the concern, I might have to play him. I don't know if it's worth it, I'll hold on to him. The blue-red deck that we're playing against is essentially filled with a lot of mass damage. And mass damage is what's going to really hurt this deck. So we desperately need to draw into some more mana, and I am going to hold off on playing this. So it's got multi-kicker, pay the multi-kicker, it gets counters on it. For the counters on it, my other elves get pumped up as well. Kind of pretty crazy. Put counters on this guy, pumps up all your other elves for the number of counters on it. A multi-kicker basically can pay it as many times as you want when it comes into play. So for 3 mana I can put 1 counter on it, for 5 mana I can put 2 counters on it. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. There's an Earthquake dealing X damage to each creature without flying in each player. He's gonna clear my board right here. This is probably almost a guaranteed loss. I find myself unable to fathom a situation where this is actually going to go smoothly for me. We could go with the Well-Wisher and then toss that guy down, but we're not going to. We're just going to play the Well-Wisher. I almost desperately just want to throw him down, but we're not going to. So we're playing with 23 lands. The deck consists of primarily elves, a couple of search cards, and a couple of draw cards, and that's essentially what I'm rolling with here. I cannot believe, it's kind of hilarious actually, that we ended up getting a game against this particular deck. It is kind of funny. So expect this to be a loss. If it's a win, well then I'll be pretty darn happy. And as of now, we just need to desperately pray that we draw into some mana sometime soon, which we should be. We are only sitting on 2 lands right now. And 23 lands puts us at about 1/3 of the deck, a little bit over 1/3 of the deck of having mana. And given that we have drawn into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 non-land cards and 2 land cards, we are long overdue for 1 more mana. Alright, so he just played a Compulsive Research, which allows him to draw 3 cards and then discard 2 cards unless he discards a land. He did not discard a land, so he discarded 2 cards. There is our 3rd, and then it becomes decision time. Do we go with the War Caller or do we just go with the Perfect? I actually like the idea of the Perfect right now because we can start pumping other elves into play, which we will then be able to gain life off of the Well-Wisher with. And at this point, while a lot of times I would save the Well-Wisher to gain life, to gain 2 life next turn, I'm actually instead going to attack this turn with a hope of whittling him down, knowing the sheer vast amounts of mass removal that he has, and the fact that he probably just Compulsive Research into some more mass removal. I guarantee that is what he was searching for, and I expect, given this deck has like at least 10, well not mass removal, but mass damage, like damage across the board. I think the deck has at least 10 spells that do that. Here's one of them, 2 damage across the board, Sulphurous Blast. See what I'm talking about? Probably the worst deck that, again, the worst deck that I probably could have played against. We're going to go ahead and throw down a Sylvan Messenger, really awesome card, 2/2 Trample. When enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards in my library, put all elf cards revealed that way into my hand. Since this deck is primarily elves, we should get a few of them, and we did. We actually ended up getting 3. 3 of those 4 cards ended up being elves. That's kind of hilarious. So those dump straight into our hand. And so we've got that, the Sylvan Messenger, which lets us fill up our hand, as well as the Lead the Stampede, which sort of does the same thing, except it's not a creature. You get to do 5 cards, and let's see, any one of them that are creatures that you put in your hand. And he is going to go 2 damage straight to this guy. I'm actually happy. He's burning through his stuff, and remember, we've got a bunch of stuff, a bunch of elves in our hand. So I'm actually okay with what he just did. Next draw is going to be, wow, another one of these. We have 2 Immaculate Magistrates. Allows us to pop up a creature for the elves in play. This turn, I think my best play is probably actually going to be a Heedless one. So we're going to put him down. It's a Trample Star Elf. Power toughness equals the number of elves in play. By itself, just a 1/1. I dump elves in play next turn, pumps him up, then I swing for more damage. That's going to be the game plan here. And also keep in mind he's down to 11. Beyond the damage that I've done, he's also done damage to himself through things like the Earthquake as well as the Sulphurous Blast. So we're actually doing okay right now, and we're going to be able to play several elves this turn. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to drop down an Essence Warden first, pumping him up to 2/2. Now whenever another creature comes into play, we gain 1 life. We will play a Well-Wisher, pumping him up to 3/3, gaining a life off of the Essence Warden. And then we're going to go to attack phase and swing with the 3/3. And he has got an instant cast. Let's see what it is. It is a Char for 4 damage to a creature. He's going to hit this. It also does 2 damage to himself, brings him down to 9. Next turn, we have got a Warcaller for at least multi-kicker of 1. If we draw a land, multi-kicker of 2. Which will then let us swing for 6 damage next turn, bringing him down to 3. If he does not clear the board this turn, he's going to Compulsive Research. He will not be clearing the board this turn. He's searching for more removal. Let's keep our fingers crossed for a land, and then next turn will be mighty hilarious. At the very least, we can do it for 1. We can multi-kicker him a single time with 3, which will allow me to swing for 4 next turn. At the very least, that's what we'll be doing. Really praying, though, for a second forest. Let's reach in and try to pull out that top deck, because if we do, we're pretty happy. He discarded 2 specifically to keep the Terramorphic Expanse and get himself another land in play. Looks like he really wanted another mana. He discarded 2 for that Compulsive Research. Okay, so here we go. Heart of the Cards. Is that what they say in one of those stupid card games that's not Magic? Heard people talk about that a lot. There it is, the Heart of the Cards. We can now Joraga Warcaller for a multi-kicker of 2, giving him 2 1/1 counters, pumping up all my other elves, +2/+2. We gain a life off of the Essence Warden, and then primarily focused on damage. So we're not going to save the Well-Wisher to gain life. We're going to swing for 6 and bring him down to 3. I am honestly astonished. I am astonished that he's at 3. Now it's not over, he has got mass removal. Here it is, he is gonna Earthquake. He needs to do that for only 2. If he does it for 3, he kills himself. If he does it for 4, he kills himself. That's the game, okay. Well, there you go. And our next game is against On Your Knees. Wow, what a cocky individual. Let's see if we can bring him to his knees and show him a thing or 2. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but this is actually a pretty good opening hand, so we're gonna keep it. We're gonna start off with the Essence Warden. Again, remember that is essentially the Soul Warden version for green. And then next turn, we're gonna be able to go down with a nice beefy elf that has the added benefit of never dying. This is a Nisa's Chosen. It is a 2/3, and if it would die, it instead goes onto the bottom of my library. It might sound like, okay, so it's gonna be the last. Oh no. Oh no, these exist? In this format? What the hell? Isamaru Hound of Konda is super good. I did not think, oh my, thank the Lord that I've got a 2/3 drop coming into play. That is ridiculous. This card is so good. This must be in the new White Weenie deck, huh? Wow. Isamaru is so good. I loved that card. I played when this was Type 2. I don't remember what block it came out in, but card was so good. So we gained a life off of him playing that. Look at that. So it's a turn 1 for a 2/2. It's a legendary creature, so you know, you're only gonna have one of them in play at any given time. But holy hell, I can't believe that. Anyways, we dropped a 2-land, 2/3 chosen, or Nisa's chosen. So we're gonna be able to block. Unless he pumps this up this turn, we're gonna have a response for his 2/2. Let's see what he has here. I can't believe that. I did not realize. I need to play that deck then. I need to play the deck that this card is in. I love this card. Plus the picture is super awesome. It's a super cool white puppy. You know, look at him. He's a man. That's the kind of dog that I want. Let me tell you something. I wonder what he is contemplating. He must have removal. But maybe he doesn't. I'm gonna call his bluff. I don't know. I can't think of what. I called his bluff. What does he have? Did he have something? Or was that a straight up bluff? It was a straight up bluff, and we brought him to his knees. No, actually, what we're gonna do this turn, we could Well-Wisher, but I kinda like doing this. I kinda like doing this with Kicker. Multi-Kicker one time, pump these guys up, and swing for 5. Hallelujah. I'm not a religious man, but if I was, I would say hallelujah. This has been an amazing opener. Let's see if he's got any response to our stuff. If he doesn't, guess what's gonna happen? Taunting Elf and a Well-Wisher next turn, and then massive damage, and then the turn after the kill, probably from the Taunting Elf going through. I'm assuming the turn after we're gonna be, oh no, he should have removal, so he's playing the white and red deck. I am pretty sure we've got some direct damage in this. The existence of red leads me to believe that that is the case, although I can't think of the deck list that he's running here. Oh, come on! What are you doing? Did you seriously just leave? What a load of crap. I am intensely disappointed in what I just saw. I'm intensely disappointed in what just happened. That is seriously, severely disappointing. Well, you know, we got off to a fantastic start. Guy leaves the game. What are we supposed to do? Attack here for 4, 5, 6, 7. He drops tapped creatures. Wait, tapped creatures you control can block as though they were untapped. That does. Okay, he's just played a blocker. I got it because I had flash. I see. So he's gonna kill the caller, but he's still down to 10. That doesn't mean we have victory next turn, but I can't believe that son of a jerk. So he's got a 1/1 with Bushido 2, which means when he blocks, he becomes a 3/3. This is gonna be +2/+2. He has to block this. We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is fatal damage. If my math serves me correct, he is forced to block this. There is 10 damage that goes through. There we go. So he's forced to block the Taunting Elf because that's what Taunting Elf does. And then the 10 will go through for the win. Well, you know, it is sad that the player left. But I don't know, that was such an amazing opening. We have to keep this game, right? All right, let's move on to another. That's really disappointing. So I guess if it's any consolation, I assume that he realized he was about to lose anyways, and that's why he just went ahead with the forfeit. What is up with these opening hands? It's almost like I've constructed this deck perfectly. This is such another really good opening hand, which we are going to keep because we start off dropping the Essence Warden. We follow it up probably with a Well-Wisher, and then third turn, as long as we draw into a land within the next 2 turns, we're gonna be seeing an Imperious Perfect come down. That's a nice wombo combo. And you know, it's funny because I have not even been using the Well-Wisher so far in these first few games. I've not even been using it sort of, I guess, the way it's designed, which is for crazy life gain. With Well-Wisher, you do end of your opponent's turn life gains, or in response to potential removal of any of your elves, life gains. Just think about how many elves I've had in play. You know, we're looking at turns with anywhere between 3 and 5 elves in play. So that's like 3 to 5 health a turn. It's kind of crazy. It adds up quick too. Well-Wisher is a phenomenal card. Fingers crossed for the top deck. It is not the one that we were looking for. It ended up being an Elvish Vanguard, which actually isn't bad because he's going to get pumped up in future turns when we drop elves down. So we're going to go with him. And actually, let's see if we got a counter. Yes, it will be a Remand, which returns it into my hand. So it's not a full-on counter spell, and he does get to draw a card. And I think for now, we are actually going to continue the trend of attacking with the Well-Wisher. Because I'm looking for this damage and trying to push through my victory in the early to mid game. Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. We're gonna go with the Well-Wisher attacking. Compulsive Research, looks at the top 3, discards 2 unless he discards a land card. Let's see what his choices are going to be. He is filtering through. This is the same deck that we faced in the first game. Remember, lots of mass damage. So we're gonna actually really hope to try to get this guy in play to pump up our elves. But honestly, I mean, we get him in play next turn, it's only a +1 pump up. So my next turn play will probably be an Imperious Perfect. Or we could go with the 2 1-drop elves. We'll see what happens. I'll figure it out. He actually discarded the 2 with the Compulsive Research as a draining, so he must have got, okay, so this is an interesting turn. We can go, wait a second, I didn't play this last turn? I thought I played this last turn. What the heck did I do? Oh, it got countered. Derp, 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 derp. Okay, so we're gonna wanna, let's do this. It's either this plus that or this guy to pump up my other guys. Maybe he doesn't have the mana, or maybe he didn't draw into the mass removal. If he has the mass removal, he is going to easily be able to do at least 1 damage. I mean, he'll easily be able to do at least 2 damage is my assumption. If he has an Earthquake, it's 2 damage based on the mana he's got in play right now. So let's just hope he doesn't have that. Let's go with the Vanguard, and then next turn we can potentially pump up for a lot of damage with playing a Perfect or playing these 2 guys. So we'll see how that goes, okay. Gonna push through with the Well-Wisher again, not using it for life gain to try to get the damage advantage, realizing that he is going to be taking damage from some of his mass damage spells as well. And actually this turn we can go with this guy too. There we go. Pumping him up at least the 1. Forcing him, if he wants to completely clear my board, to at least do 2 damage across the board. Let's see it. He must have it. He must have one of the multitude of mass damage spells in his hand. What? What? Are you kidding me? Oh, this could not be better. Oh my gosh, are you serious? I cannot believe that. All right, Imperious Perfect coming into play pre-combat to pump up our other elves. There is Volcanic Fallout, 2 damage to each creature and each player. Okay, so I figured he had something. Now that's gonna be 2 damage across the board. That's coming into play before this hits. I'm gonna respond with the Well-Wisher to gain some life. I think that comes into play, and then my Perfect will still drop. Yep, sans the damage. So this triggered first his 2 damage to each creature and each player, and then my Perfect lands. So look at that. I kept pushing damage through with a Well-Wisher, plus the Warden. He's now to 13 because he took damage from this as well. We gain life from the Well-Wisher thanks to our pre-combat playing of this and his response of his 2 damage across the board. We were able to still gain life. I'm at 25, he's at 13. I am pretty happy with this current setup here. We're gonna drop another Well-Wisher. And the question then becomes, Elf or hit for 2? I'm gonna choose to play the Elf. I'm gonna wait though, because I'm gonna do this before the end of his turn. He is going to Sulphurous Blast. I'm gonna try to do this in response. I don't know if, I think the token comes into play before the Sulphurous Blast triggers though. Yeah, so it didn't do anything. I was hoping it was gonna work the other way around. It did not. There is the mass removal of my stuff. Well, you know, this is exactly what I deal with against this deck, and I'm surprised that the game number 1 went as well as it did, given the strength of this deck against mine. And we are kind of in a crapshoot position right now. Our only play is to play him with a multi-kicker of 1. Otherwise, we're sitting on no threats. I want him to waste removal, if at all possible, If we can get, look, there it is, Electrolyze. He's gonna do 2 damage directly to this guy. He also, in the process, gets to draw a card. Getting him in play is gonna be huge, so we desperately need mana. We also have this, so much amazing card draw potential from this. Discard my hand, I've got a nearly empty hand as it is. Draw a card for each creature you control. He's gonna play a Future Sight, lets him play with the top card of his library revealed, and he gets to play it as if it was in his hand. That's how that works. That card's unbelievable. Thank the Lord we drew that land. That is exactly what we needed. And the play is going to be the Sylvan Messenger. Top 4 cards of the library revealed. Any of them that are creatures come into my hand. We got 2. The other 2 go into the bottom of my library, or are they shuffled? Bottom of my library is where they go. Okay, so we drew into a heatless one. Power tough is equal to number of elves. So he's gonna play the land from the top of his library. Keeps the land in his hand. That's his land, and he can play this as if it were in his hand. Swerve, he gets to change it to... At least we get to see the stuff that's coming up. That's the one drawback for him for the Future Sight. We get to see his potential future plays. He's just gonna keep at it. He's gonna keep on pinging down my elves, and that's exactly what he needs to do, especially now that he's in a deathly range. 11 health, he gets to draw a card, he gets the Swerve, he has Volcanic Fallout, so at any given time he's gonna be able to do 2 damage to the creatures that I have in play. So knowing that is there, let's go with something basic. Let's go with this guy, and just this guy. If he wants to drop that, plus another removal, he can. Does he have a counterspell? He just paused. I bet he has one of those non-counterspell counterspells that just returns it to my hand, in which case I'll play it again, because I do have the mana. Counterspell with 4 or less, so he's actually gonna blow a full-on counterspell. And crap, I don't wanna play this with no kicker. Or maybe I do, to force him to burn the Volcanic Fallout. I'm actually, yep, I'm gonna do it. We're playing with no kicker, and I guess the concept here is that we're trying to make him think that we could pump this up, and the threat of any damage will force him to burn that. But actually no, it's an instant, so he won't burn it until I play another creature. So what I'll do is, before playing anything else, I will attack with this and force him to burn it, subsequently taking 2 damage. Okay, so we're gonna play land, and then we're going to go straight into the attack phase. Is he gonna take the 1? Looks like that is a yes. Okay. Makes me happy. We're gonna play the Slate of Ancestry. Does he have a counterspell for this now? If he built that deck properly, he's just got a crap ton of counterspells. There it is. That's actually a really scary counterspell, because that gets pumped up now to the casting cost of Slate of the Ancestry, making it a 5/5 flyer, and now all of a sudden I am in danger of dying. I'm in grave danger of dying. He's just gonna save this as a blocker now. And I won't be able to push anything through until I play the Taunting Elf. Once I do, he's got the mass damage. So I think at this point, this game is pretty much a wash. I don't see myself coming back from this. I don't see it as a possibility. I'm gonna go with a heedless one. Oh my gosh, this deck. Counterspell damage, counterspell damage, counterspell damage. There's the Remand, bounces it back to my hand. Yes, 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 I understand. He gets to draw a card. He's got a compulsive research. We're gonna pass the turn. Let's just get this over with, huh? We both know it's a loss for me. Just get it over with. He's gonna play that from the top of his library, thanks to the Future Sight. He's got to cancel. He's just sitting on a counterspell now, so next thing I try to play gets canceled. And unfortunately, he's gonna draw this out because he really wants to make sure that I don't hit him with any damage. So he is probably not even going to be attacking anytime soon. He's gonna discard a land. He keeps his cancel, which he can still play. He's got this, which counterspells and puts it on top of my library, which sets me back a turn, essentially. Come on, please pass the turn. You know that you win. This game is over. Please don't make it take a million times longer than it needs to. He actually decides to shuffle this out, getting rid of this counterspell, and getting actually a land on top of his library. He got rid of this because, oh my god, is this really? Well, I'm kind of looking for a reason to leave this game, and if it's bugged out right now, then I'll have the perfect reason. because Memory Lapse is now completely blocking my vision and pretty much preventing me from doing anything that I want to do. So here is a perfect excuse to leave this game that we are pretty much about to lose anyways. Because I can't even see what's, you know, I can't see all but this one card. I don't even know what I'd be playing. I'm kind of happy about this. Time to leave this game. Let's move on for one last one. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this final game here. This one against Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Something. Lame aim. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, lame aim. This opening hand, it's not ideal, but I like 3/4, and I like the Sylvan Messenger, as well as the Nisia's Chosen. And we get to play first again. This has been an incredibly lucky night for me in terms of my ability to play first. Last game was unfortunate. You know, honestly, that's how I should do against that deck. That blue-red deck just has such a potential to screw over all of these strong strong weenie decks, which an elf deck is essentially a weenie deck. He's gonna Thought Scour. He's playing the mill deck, huh? I'm actually I kind of like my odds against this deck. So let's see how this goes. All right, drawing another land. Doesn't bother me too much because remember, once we Sylvan Messenger, we're gonna fill up with some elves and start hitting him hard. Yeah, this weenie deck and a lot of the weenie decks should pretty much perform like we saw the last game. If you make that blue-red deck with pretty much as much mass damage as possible, or, you know, pick and choose the ones that you feel like are ideal, counter spells, and then some sort of maybe beefy late game control stuff, it should be a win for you, like, consistently. I would imagine you'd win at least 75% of the games against weenie decks. You know, so long as you don't get mana screwed and stuff like that. Oh, I'm sorry, he isn't playing the mill deck. He's playing the blue-black deck that actually had, I forgot that had Thought Scours in it. All right, interesting, very interesting. Well, he knows what I'm playing now. He's milled a Well-Wisher and a bunch of lands. This could be a turn for the... Oh, we could drop him in play. I would have to waste the Warcaller, and we might as well just save it. We're gonna do the Warcaller with a multi-kicker one time. And then we are going to hit for 5 damage right now. 5 damage. Bringing him down to 14. Next turn, Sylvan Messenger. Unless we draw into something else that I prefer to play, like potentially another one of these guys. I've got 3 of them in the deck, or a Imperious Perfect. Either one of those would be a choice over the Sylvan Messenger. If I do draw neither of those, then the Sylvan Messenger it will be. He's gonna play Enchant creature with converted mana cost 2 or less. Okay, so he's gonna gain control of this guy. Does he get pumped up from this, or is it just my elves? Each other elf I control. Okay, he does not get the pumped up from my elf pumper-uppers. Ooh, we could go with the heedless one. Yeah. Yep, that's perfect. Power toughness is equal to the number of elves on the battlefield. That does count for his elves too. So we're sitting on that 5/5. Let's swing him for 4, bring him down to 10 now. And I foresee a victory in our future. I do indeed. Look how amazing this is. 2 lands for a 4/3 trample. Now, it can only be played if I played another green spell this turn. But I've got several 1- and 2-drop green spells that will fuel that. Evil Twin, copying a creature, and then he can tap a blue and a black to destroy a creature with the same name as the creature he's copied. He's probably going to copy the heedless one. His is smaller than mine because, ha ha ha, you are a Warcaller. And we're probably going to be doing a trading of the elves this turn. But I'm okay with that because check this out. Sylvan Messenger. Fill up our hand with some more glorious elves. We're going to be forced to block the heedless one because it is 7 damage. Nothing? None of them were elves? Not a single one? This deck is almost entirely elves, with the exception of lands and like 4 other cards. That is insane to me. I will not attack with him. I will attack with him because only flying creatures can block him, and then my 7/7. That is insane to me that triggered nothing. Thank the Lord we've got another one of those in play. Or in our hand. I can't believe that. I get nothing out of that. It must have been all lands or something. He's gonna let... He's at 4. What the heck? Does he have a Damnation? Does that deck have Damnation? I don't remember. He's gonna kill the Heedless one with his Heedless one because it's an Evil Twin. He's still at 4 though, and we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage swinging next turn. He needs to play 2 blockers to not die. That doesn't do it. He blocks the 3/3, he takes 4 damage. What, could he do anything for 1 black? Not that I know of. Let me just do this. I don't know what I would be drawing, but I just want to make sure that... Okay, so there are some elves. I do have an elf that I can play for 1. It doesn't really do anything for my attack, though. So we're gonna pass to combat phase, swing for 4, 5, 6, 7. He blocks the 3/3. He takes 4. Anything that he can do with his 1 black to prevent the loss? Not that I know of. And that is the win. Going out on a good note. Can't complain with that. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap things up once again by taking a look at the deck list for my Sylvan Might build. Once more, we're sitting on primarily a full deck of elves, basically. Look at that, 32 creatures, 5 other, and 23 lands. I cannot believe that one dude did not pick up a single elf in 4 draws. That's why I thought it was crazy. So we got 3 of these. I can't believe this deck will let you run 3. This card is so good. Yorga Warcaller, Yoraga. 1/1 for 1, multi-kicker of 2. For every multi-kicker, it gets a 1/1 counter. For every 1/1 counter, your other elves are pumped up that much. Taunting Elf to force damage through because all creatures that can block it must do so. So he has to block a Taunting Elf when you attack with it, unless he removes it, of course. Essence Warding to gain a life every time a creature comes in the battlefield. I play a lot of creatures, good for me. My opponent plays creatures, hey, good for me too. Glade Cover Scout, it's an elf. It's also got Hexproof, a 1/1 for 1. Copperhorn Scout, 1/1. Whenever this attacks, untap all other creatures you control. Some crazy combos of potential with this. Unfortunately, only 1 of them are available in the deck. If they had a multitude of the Scouts, I would probably play with them. And this card too, but unfortunately there's only 1 of each of these 3 available. Kind of a bummer. This one can only be blocked by a creature with flying or reach. Fauna Shaman to remove a creature from my hand and search for another one, put it into my hand, lets me search through for things like Imperious Perfect or the Yorga Warcaller. We have got Elvish Vanguard. It's a 1/1 for 2. Whenever another elf comes in the battlefield, it gets pumped up +1/+1 permanently. The Teleraz Battalion, 4/3 trample for 2. Can only play it when I've played another green spell this turn. Gem Palm Strider, it's 2 lands for a 2/2 elf, which is cool. But if you cycle it, all your other elves get +2/+2 until end of turn. 4 of the Well-Wishers to either force damage through like you saw me do, whatever, I'm just saying, use it as damage, or as crazy life gain, which is what it's typically used for. Nisa's Chosen, love this creature. 2/3 elf, the extra health is really amazing for a 2-drop, so it's a 2/3, and if it would die, it actually goes near your library instead. I like this guy too, 3 lands for 2/2, I can tap a green to regenerate another target elf, or I can tap 4 to give my elves overrun. Imperious Perfect to pump up my other elves, plus I can put elf tokens into play, lead the Stampede. Top 5 cards in my library. Any creatures of them I put in my hand, other ones go back into my library at the bottom. The Immaculate Magistrate, it's a 2/2. You didn't get to see this come into play, but this card is crazy. Tap it, pump up, put a 1/1 counter. That's a 1/1 counter, not +1/+1 till end of turn. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature for each elf you control. 5 elves in play, I tap this, I put 5 1/1 counters on a creature. Imagine that with this. However many 1/1 counters are on him, all your other elves get pumped up that much. Yes, it works like that. As far as I know, you use this to put 1/1 counters on him, all your elves get pumped up as a result. Just a little crazy. Heedless 1, Trample, power and toughness equals to number of elves on the battlefield. Sylvan Messenger, 2/2 Trample for 4, but the big thing is it lets you search for elves. And then I've got 2 Slate of Ancestries, good for late game when your hand is empty. You get to fill it up equal to the number of creatures that you control. And that is that, guys. Also playing with 23 lands. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Friday Night Magic. Taking a look at the Sylvan Might deck. Really like it. Love elves. Fun deck. And this was a pretty good showing. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Keep watching and keep owning.